Hi gang. This lesson is going to be on understanding decimals. So basically, our place value of decimals, comparing an order, and rounding decimals. Okay, so this chart here is kind of yours to use as a reference as long as you need to. And basically, this gives us our place values for decimals. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, millionths. Okay, so if I have a number in the millionths place value, that means, that's a really accurate measure of something. Okay, so I'm going to write 1 and sorry, Mrs. Hook just had a brain burp. I'm going to write my number into my place value chart here. So I have 1, my decimal point I read is and. So I have 1 and 936 10,000ths. So wherever my last digit is, whatever place value that is, that's the number that I read out loud. So 1 and 936 10,000ths. Okay, and again, this place value chart is yours so that you can reference it as long as you need. So again, we're working on just place value here. So there are 4,536 10,000ths kilograms in 1 pound. I need to write this number in standard form and expanded form. So again, this is review of, we've done expanded form for whole numbers. So this is going to be expanded form for decimals. So again, I have 4,536 10,000ths. So if I have 10,000ths, first of all, I know I'm going to be in the decimals, and I know that the 10,000th spot goes out 4 places. So it's going to be 4,336. So that, I'm sorry, Mrs. Hook cannot read. 4,500 536. So that's what my decimal should look like in standard form. So in expanded form, the value of our 4 is 4/10. The value of our 5 is 5/100. The value of the 3 is 3,000ths. And the value of the 6 is 6/10,000ths. So again, if I were to line those up vertically, we would end up with an answer of 4,536 10,000ths. All right, so this one we're going to do together, and then you'll do number 2 by yourself. So this time I'm taking it from standard form and putting it into word form. So I would say this number out loud, and when I write it down, I would say 67 and 3/10. That's how I would say that number out loud. So you try this one, so you can pause your video, jot down your answer, and then hit play again, and I'll be back. All right, you should have an answer of 6 and 734,000ths. Notice our and is always our decimal point. Okay, and then we're not going to write it in expanded form. We're just going to write this decimal out in standard form. So the winning car won the race by 1/1500ths of a second. So that's just going to be 1/1500ths. All right, now we're going to take a look at rounding. So our rules of rounding are the same from whole numbers. I look at the underlying digit, I look at the number to the right. My 2 tells my 4 to stay on the floor. So I'm going to have 2 and 34 hundredths. Let's see, this time what am I rounding to? To the nearest 10,000ths. So my 7 tells my 4 to bump up. I rewrite the rest of my numbers. So I should have 1,735 10,000ths. So for rounding, I follow the same rules that I do for whole numbers. It just happens to be that I'm rounding to a nearest decimal instead of a whole number. And our last thing that we're going to look at is ordering decimals. When we're ordering decimals, always important that we read the directions. So I want to go from least to greatest. So when I'm going to compare my first number here for my 10th spot first. So let me just write them out all vertically here. 0.8, 0.084, 48 hundredths, and 84 hundredths. So when I have things that are different, I can that are different lengths, I can add in zeros to help me stay organized. So now I'm going to compare my 10th spot. So I can now see from least to greatest, I can now see that I'm going to have a number that is very small. So my smallest number, my 0 is small. So 84 thousandths is my smallest number. So we can mark him out. Now I can see my 4 is going to be my next smallest number. So 480 thousandths. Let's see. And now I'm going to see, now I'm looking at the hundredths place value, right? So my 8 is the same, so I have to go to this number. So 0 is less than 4. So 8 tenths, and then my biggest number is going to be 84 hundredths. And again, I can think about that as 80 cents is less than 84 cents. Okay, so that's how I'm going to order decimals. So now you try ordering this decimal. So hit your video on pause, and I'll be back with the answer that you should have. All right, we're going to do this from least to greatest again. So I can see everything has a whole number of 3. Looks like my 0 here, comparing my 10th spot, is going to be my smallest number. And then 46 cents is less than 64 cents. So 364 is going to be my biggest number. Okay, so this was a lesson on everything to do with understanding decimal place value and comparing and ordering decimals.